Okay, welcome back, seniors. Today I'm going to explain for you how to solve for you last year exam. As you are aware, last year exam was on Swift Assess, so it was mostly multiple choice questions. These are the questions. I hope while I'm solving, you pause the video and you solve with your own, and then you check your answers with me. Okay, so let's start with question 1. Question 1, he gave you the mass, 65 grams of sample. The specific heat capacity is C. It was heated from 22 to 38, so this is the initial and this is the final. Now, how much heat? So he wants Q equals question mark. Okay, yalla, solve by yourself and then check your answers with me. Okay, so I think the answer should be okay, 65 times 0.29 times 134. So the answer is B. Okay, now try by yourselves to solve the second question and then check your answers with me. Okay, similarly, read the question, go through it, answer. Okay, so the answer is B, 6.77. Okay, now question number 3. Question number 3, it says when a 10-gram sample absorbs 47.2. So 10 grams, this is the mass. Q, 47.2 joules, this is Q. Its temperature changes from this number to this number. This is the initial and this is the final. Now substance Q could be, we need to calculate the specific heat capacity, which is C, and then see what is the substance. Okay, now pause the video, do the question by yourselves and check your answer. Okay, C will be equal to, if you want the unit of C, it is from here, joules over grams Celsius, and the substance will be copper. Identify substance Q, so we will say it is copper. Now, try by yourselves to solve the second question and find the answer. You will notice that every question is repeated twice because there was 2 versions from the exam last year. Okay. Time now next. Now this question. A chemical reaction releases 75.5 kilojoules. How many calories are released? He gave you this as a hint to help you. So here, according to this, 1 joule is equivalent to 0.239 calories. Now this one is given in kilojoule. How do you change it to joules? We multiply it by 1000. طبعا joules should be written under joules. You cannot write joules here because this is calories. So you write 75.5 times 1000 joules. And the question is how many calories? So under calories, I will write question mark. Now what I will do, I will cross multiply this one times this one divided by 1. So it will be 75.5 ضرب 1000 ضرب 0.239 divided by 1, and you will find the final answer. I think it will be C if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Yes, the answer is C. Okay, now try by yourselves to solve the next question. If you remember previously, we said the capital calorie is alf the small calorie. So whenever you want to change the capital calorie into small calorie, it's same like kilo, so you multiply by 1000. Now this is 472 ضرب 1000 calorie. Do we write the calorie under calorie or under joule? طبعا calorie, we should write under it calorie. So this one is 472 ضرب 1000 calorie. How many joules? The question is how much energy in joules. So under joules, I will write question mark. Same like we did before, you do cross multiply and divide. Okay, so the answer will be B. Okay, yalla, now another question. Now this is a similar question, but here the new idea is that we have kilocalorie. How do I change kilocalorie into calorie? طبعا this is very easy, so you multiply it by 1000. Try to do the question by yourselves and check the answer. Okay, so the answer will be A. I want to point for you one important thing. If you write this one without the units, like you say 1 is equivalent to 4.184. Okay, right. Next, how will you know what will you write under what? It is very important. When you write this, you don't write it in this way. You have to write here the unit, write calorie, and here write joule, so that when you write this one, you know it should fall under this one. And how many joules? So the question mark will be under joules. If you don't write the units, you will not be able to know who should be under who. So be careful. This is something very important. Okay, now let's look at this energy diagram. First question for you. Do you think this reaction is exothermic or endothermic? Now this one will absorb energy because the energy is going up. So this one is endothermic. If I ask you to label this graph, we put here reactants and we put here activated complex and we put here products. Now this one is the AE, activation energy, and the distance from the reactants to the products is delta H. Now for endothermic reaction, who have more energy, products or reactants? طبعا products. Now the delta H is positive or negative? It will be positive. Does it absorb heat or release heat? It absorbs heat. So the system absorbs energy, true. Delta H is positive, true. The activation energy is represented by the letter Y. طبعا غلط because it is X. So 1 and 2 are true. So you will choose B. B will be the right answer. Okay, spare a few minutes to do this question. Okay, now let's look at this reaction. Now this reaction is a bit different because here the reactants, here the activated complex, and here is the product, and the reaction lose energy. And when the reaction lose energy, this is called exothermic, and delta H is negative. The system release energy is correct, delta H is negative, the activation energy is L. This is activation energy. M is delta H, this is the heat. M is the distance between reactants and products. This is delta H. As I told you before, delta H is equal to H final minus H initial. H final in chemistry is products minus H initial is reactants. So the distance between reactants and products, this is delta H. AE هو ارتفاع الجبل, like you are here and your house is here. So you go all this distance, this is AE. So this one is wrong, so the answer is 1 and 2. Let's see which is the correct answer. Now the correct answer is 1 and 2 only, so the answer is A. Now let's look at this graph. This graph is very easy. If the question was, where are the reactants? Here. Products? Here. Activated complex? P. Activation energy? R. Which letter represents the activated complex? It is here because the activated complex is always high in energy. So the answer is P. Okay, now this question is a new idea. What is the amount of heat? So he wants the amount of heat absorbed when 480 grams of liquid methanol changes to vapor. Liquid changes to vapor. What do I call this process? This is called vaporization or evaporation. So he gives you the standard enthalpy of vaporization. دائما I will start with the standard enthalpy. This one. Okay, I will say 35.2 kilojoules. This is per mole. يعني this is for, okay, excuse me. This is for 1 mole. Whenever you say per mole, this means for 1 mole. Now the question is, what is the amount of heat in kilojoules? So I will put under kilojoules question mark. When 480 grams, so I will put here 480 grams. Now pay attention. Can I say this is grams and this is moles? طبعا غلط. Because if this is grams, this one should be grams. If this is moles, this one should be moles. If this is kilojoules, this one should be kilojoules. دائما اللي فوق بعض should be the same. So I need a number here. Where is this number? It is here. 32 grams per mole. يعني for every 1 mole, the mass is 32 grams. So I will remove 1 mole and I will put 32. Now we do cross multiply. This times and divide. So the answer will be 480 times 35.2 divided by 32. And the answer will be, okay, now I will give you a similar question and you will have to do it by yourselves. For 80 times 35.2 divided by 32, the answer is 528. Okay, now I want you to do the next question by yourself. It is a similar idea. Okay, so the answer is 216. I think this question is not very clear. Let's do this question. Okay, it's also a similar one. You start with this. Yeah, try to solve by yourself. Okay, I want to point to your attention something. If the question was for the same like here, what is the amount of heat absorbed when, let's say, 6 moles of acetic acid changed to vapor? So this is the same question, but instead of asking for grams, he's asking for moles, okay? So we will do the same step, 23.4 kilojoules. This is 4 per mole means 1 mole. Okay, now what is the amount of heat? So I'll put here question mark. 6 moles, I will put 6 moles. Now, do I have to cross the moles? طبعا لا, because this is moles and this is moles, so you keep it as it is. Okay, so I will say 6 times 23.4 divided by 1 and I will get the answer. So be careful. If it's asking for moles, do not cross the moles, just keep it as it is and make sure that the things above each other are of the same unit. Like if here this is moles, this is moles. This one kilojoule, the answer will be kilojoule. Okay, the answer will be kilojoule. If this is grams, this is grams. This is calories, this is calories. دائما اللي فوق بعض they should be the same. This one and this one طبعا they will not be the same. Okay, بس دائما اللي فوق بعض they should be the same unit. Okay, now let's do another question. Now let's do this question. This question is, you have 3 equations and you have the heats and you need to find delta H for this reaction by using these 3. Now this question is very easy. Step number 1, I need to find C solid in the reactions above. In which reaction can you see C solid? It is here. Now there is a problem with this, is that here it's a reactant and here it is a product. How can I make this one become a reactant? I will reverse this reaction. And when I reverse this reaction, the delta H will be of opposite sign. So it will be minus 393.5 kilojoules. Now I want to search for 2H2. 2H2 is here, but the problem is that here H2, I want it to be 2H2. So what will I do? I will multiply this one by 2. Do I need to reverse the reaction? No, because here is a reactant and here is a reactant. So delta H will be minus 285.8 multiplied by 2. Now I want CH4. CH4 is here. The coefficient is 1 and the coefficient 2 is 1. So I'm not going to multiply it. Here it's a product and here it's a product. So I'm not going to change. This reaction will be the same. So delta H will be plus 890.3. Now we add all these to get the total delta H. Okay, add this one and this one and this one to get the final delta H. Be careful, I need to use each equation once only. I will not use any equation more than one time. Okay, and I will not leave any equation unused. يعني كل equation I لازم use it once only. Okay, so let's find the final answer. The final answer will be okay, the answer will be 74.8 minus 74.8. So the answer will be B. Okay, now I want from you to do the next questions for a few minutes. Okay, here B2O3, it is here. This is a product, I wanted a reactant, so I will reverse. And here the coefficient is 1, but it is 2, so I will divide by 2. Okay, what happens to delta H? If we reverse, it will be positive, and divide by 2. So divide this whole number by 2. 2548 divided by 2, this will give you 1274. Okay, now 3H2O. H2O is here. أولاً I want it to be a reactant, so I will reverse this reaction. ثانياً بدي الcoefficient يكون 3, so I will multiply by 3. Now what happens to delta H will be plus 286 times 3. 286 times 3, this is equal to 858. Okay. Now B2H6 is here. This is a product, this is a product, this is a coefficient 1, coefficient 1. So this one will be the same. So delta H here is plus 36. Now I will add all of them to get the total delta H, okay? Okay, so the answer will be plus 2168. Okay, plus 2168. طبعا الunit will be in kilojoules, similar to this. Be careful. أولا, I will not look for oxygen and then take this equation again because I already used it. ودائما الأكسجين اسحبوا عليه. Don't fix the oxygen. The oxygen will be fixed alone. Okay? دائما الأكسجين we don't fix it. It will be fixed alone. As far as I use my 3 equations once, that's it. Okay, so the answer will be C. Okay, now this is a different question. We need to find delta H reaction, but here he gave you delta H formation for each of these. Like this one, the heat is minus 432.8. CO2 is minus 393.5. And H2O is minus 241.8. Now he didn't give you oxygen because we cannot make oxygen, so its heat is 0. Now how do I find delta H reaction? Delta H is equal to H final minus H initial. The final is the products and the initial is the reactants. Now let's find the heat of products. These two are the products, okay? Be careful. CO2 should be multiplied by 2. So 2 times minus 393.5 plus 2 times this 2 minus 241.8. Okay, now heat of reactants is equal to, I have this is the only reactant and it's multiplied by 1. So 1 times minus 432.8 and the oxygen is 0. Okay, now calculate the products, calculate the reactants, and minus them, you will get the final answer. Okay, I'll leave the final answer for you so that we don't waste time. You do the calculations and you check your answers and see which one is the correct answer. Okay, now I'll give you a few minutes also to do this one. Okay, now here N2 is not given and Cl2 is not given, so these two cannot be made. The heat is 0. So the heat of products will be 6 times HF, which is minus 273. The heat of reactants will be 2 times minus 164.7 plus 2 times minus 46, and then you do delta H will be H products minus H reactants, and you find the final answer. Okay, each of the all of the following shows an increase in entropy except, remember, entropy is the measure of randomness. So entropy is the disorder or randomness. And we said before that the gases have more entropy than aqueous, more entropy than liquids, more entropy than solids. And if I have a reaction, what do? I do moles of gaseous reactants and moles of gaseous products, and then we compare who have more entropy. Okay, so let's start here. Here solid is becoming aqueous. طبعا aqueous have more entropy, so delta S is positive. Now solid gas. The gas have more entropy, so delta S is also positive. Now solid, gas, solid, okay? And here I have 3 moles of gas, and here now gas, 0. So as I go from here to here, 3 to 0, do you think this will be more entropy or less entropy? So delta S is negative. Here solid is becoming gas, so delta S is positive. So the answer is C. Okay, now spare a few minutes to answer this next question. Okay, which of the following reaction is spontaneous at all temperatures? Remember, who decides if the reaction is spontaneous? The sign of delta G. And we said previously that delta G depends on delta H and delta S. The rule was delta G equal delta H minus T delta S. Okay, we said if this is positive, the reaction will be spontaneous at high temperature. If this is negative, the reaction will be spontaneous at low temperature. If this is positive, this is negative, delta G will be the sign of my name, so it will be the sign of Hanan, it will be positive. Okay, if this is negative, this is positive, also delta G will be the sign of my name, so it will be negative. Delta G positive means non-spontaneous because it needs energy, and negative means spontaneous. Which of the following is spontaneous at all temperatures means that delta H should be negative and delta S should be positive. Delta H is negative and delta S is positive, so this is the answer. Okay, now the next question says, which of the following reactions is never spontaneous? Never spontaneous يعني high. يعني delta H is positive or delta S is negative. Okay, so if you look here, delta H is positive or delta S is negative. So the answer here is D. Okay, now we have this question is about the reaction rate. You need to calculate the average reaction rate. Now X increase or decrease, this is the time 0 to 10 in seconds. And X 0.3 to 0.2, so this decrease. Does it make sense? Yes, why? Because X is a reactant. نحن متفقين إنه reactants decrease or products increase. If you remember the graph, قلنا reactants decrease till they become 0, products increase, start from 0 and increase. Now, regarding X, RR will be minus delta X over delta T. Yalla, what is the final X? 0.2 minus initial 0.3 over 10 minus 0. So the answer will be 0.1 over 10, 0.01. Okay, now I think I have another similar question. Yalla, try to do it. Now you have to find Y is given. Similarly, Y is decreasing because it's a reactant. You need to find the average reaction rate. RR is equal to minus delta Y over delta T. Okay, now which reaction will have the slowest rate of reaction? You know that the rate is equal to K times concentration of reactants. So if K increases, the rate will increase. And if K decreases, the rate will decrease. So slowest rate, this means smallest K. Which K is smallest? Reaction 3. Because this one is the smallest number. Okay, now collisions. Remember, قلنا نحن according to the collision theory, 3 conditions should be met. أولاً, atoms must collide with enough energy and with correct direction or orientation. Now, أول issue I want you to tell me, is there a reaction? Now these are the reactants. Here they collide, and this is energy, and here they make products. Are these the same like this? No, they are different. So here I can say the reaction is successful. Successful reaction, a new product is formed. X and Z are not correctly oriented, طبعا غلط. They are energetic enough, yes. So the correct is 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. So the answer is B. طيب, now I want you to look at this. أول شيء decide, is this collision successful? Yes or no? طبعا no. Why? Because these two are the same like these two. So there is no reaction taking place. No reaction. Okay. طبعا the reasons بيكونوا no enough energy أو incorrect direction, orientation. Okay. إذا this is unsuccessful صح. It is successful طبعا غلط. A new product is found غلط. X and Y are not correctly oriented. This is true. So the answer is 1 and 4 only. So this is the correct answer. Okay, now this is a second order reaction. I need to identify the unit of K. Remember, in the rate constant K, unit 1 over S ضرب M order minus 1. Always remember this. Okay, so 1 over S ضرب M, the order is second, 2 minus 1. So this is 1 over S ضرب M. If you bring S and M above, it will be S minus 1, M minus 1. So this is the correct answer. Okay, we have two graphs here representing B, C, and Z. لاحظوا إنه B and C are reactants, Z is a product. Which graph X or Y is correct? Explain your answer. Now B and C, because they are reactants, they must decrease. And Z is a product, so it must increase. So here, as you can see here in this graph, B and C are increasing, so this is wrong. Here, B and C are decreasing, so this is right. So the graph Y is correct. Why? Because B and C decrease and Z increase. Okay, now which is of the following is the unit of temperature? طبعا تعرفوا انتوا انه temperature عندها unit اما سلسيوس او كلفن، والكلفن is equal to Celsius plus 273. If I was asked to convert Celsius to Kelvin. Okay, so Kelvin is the correct answer. Okay, now what is the unit of heat? Remember that heat is energy that flows from hot objects to cold objects. So which one is the unit of energy? Calorie. على فكرة الهيت ممكن الهيت بما انها هي energy and it goes from hot objects to cold objects. الانرجي يونت إلها جولز، ممكن تكون كيلو جولز، وبالفود قلنا كالوري أو كالوري capital calorie. This one is special for food. Energy in food ما بنقول بالجولز، بنقول in calories. So if there was joules among these, also it will be correct. Okay, a student was given the same amount of 4 different substances and their relative specific heat as shown below. Okay, which substance will resist the change in temperature the most? The one that will not change the temperature. نفس المي. قلنا المي عندها high specific heat, so ما بتتغير. يلي ما بيتغير بيكون عنده high specific heat. Okay, so highest specific heat is for this one. WY because it has high specific heat capacity. Okay, a student was given and which one will resist that change in temperature? The least. The least يعني it will not keep its temperature. The temperature will change. So this you will choose the least specific heat. The answer will be also W, 0.129. because it have the least specific heat. Okay, now a 50 gram sample, specific heat was heated from this to this. How much heat is absorbed? Here you will have to use the Q equal. Okay, and you will find the correct answer. على فكرة, it doesn't have to be this one. Maybe this one is not correct. Okay, same question. 30 grams of solid silver with a specific heat capacity was heated. How much heat is absorbed? So you will say Q equal. Okay, let me see how much is the answer. The answer will be 129.6, which is 127. Okay, a 2-gram sample of granite absorbs this heat and the temperature increases by 25. Okay, now this one is M. The joules, this is Q. It increases by 25, so this is delta T كاملة. Increases by, this means he will not give you T final and T initial. Okay, what does he want? He wants the specific heat capacity. Capacity means C. طبعا we will use the same rule. Q equal MC delta T. Q is 39.5. M is 2. C is needed. Delta T is 25. So C will 0.79. Okay, I'll solve this one by yourselves. Okay. Which of the following is true about a reaction that have negative delta S and positive delta H is negative and delta S is positive? I want you to tell me delta G. طبعا when they are different, delta G will be the same like delta H. So delta G will be negative. Negative delta G means does not need energy. No need for energy. يعني spontaneous. So the reaction is spontaneous at all temperatures. Okay. Yeah. Now the question is, we have a reaction and the question is what is the amount of energy when 6.4 grams of CH4 completely react with oxygen. So I will say CH4 plus 2O2 will give you CO2 plus 2H2O plus 890 kilojoules. Now the question is, what is the amount of energy? طبعا هاي الانرجي I'll put question mark here. When 6.4 grams of CH4, هاي CH4 رح أكتب هون 6.4 grams. As we agreed before, if this is grams, this is grams. ما حدا يجي يكتب هون 1 mole غلط, because this is grams, this one should be grams. So what is the number that I will write here? This is the molar mass, 16. And then you cross multiply this one times this one divided by this one. So it will be 6.4 times 890 over 16. 6.4 times 890 divided by 16. 356. Okay, now again, this is a reaction, this is the reactants. Here they collided, here they formed the products. Do you think these two are different than these two? طبعا لا. This means the collision is not successful. Now K and L successfully collide? No. No reaction occurred? Yes. K and L are energetic enough? طبعا لا. They don't have enough energy and they are not in the correct orientation. KL are in the correct orientation? طبعا لا. Okay, now let's do this question. This question says, you have this diagram. أول شيء, what is the reaction? Is it exo or endothermic? Now, as you gain energy, this is endothermic. Okay, and delta H is positive, and the reaction absorbs heat. So the reaction is endothermic, and the activated complex is represented by the letter Q. Okay, now another question. A student studied the change in the concentration of S over 15 minutes and recorded the data. طبعا, do you think S is a reactant or a product? طبعا, if it is decreasing, this means it's a reactant. So the rate of disappearance of S between 0 minutes, يعني I need to take this time, and 10 minutes this time. طبعا the rate R equal minus delta S over delta T. ليش حطيت minus؟ لأنها الأس reactant. Okay. Minus final 0.2 minus initial 0.8 over 10 minus 0. Okay, 0.2 minus 0.8, 0.06. The reaction rate is never negative. It should be positive. This is speed, and speed is never negative. It should be positive. Okay. Type. Now another question. Which of the following statement is true about the specific rate constant? تذكروا انتوا انه rate constant proportional to the rate. Rate equal K ضرب concentration of reactants. So K is proportional to the rate. When the K increases, the rate increases. K decreases, rate decreases. And K is dependent on temperature. It only changes if we change the temperature. So the rate constant does not change with temperature. طبعا غلط. It changes with temperature. The rate constant does not change with concentration. أيوة. It changes only with temperature. The smaller, the slower. صح. كل ما كانت هاي أصغر بيكون الرate slower. So the answer is 2 and 3. Okay, another question. Now this question, you need to find the rate law. The rate law is, remember, أول شيء رح أكتب أنا الريت law is equal to K ضرب reactants اللي هن Q. I will say this is power M and L, this is power N, and your job is to find M and to find N. طبعا, how do we find M and N? By experiment. How many experiments do we have? 3. When I'm finding M, N, okay, M is here and N is here. So when I'm calculating M, N should be constant. In which experiment is N constant? N is constant in this experiment and this experiment. Now what happened here? This is times 2. And what happened here? Times 2. 2 power M equals 2. Again, 2 power M equals 2. So how much is M? M is 1. Okay, similarly, we will do N. I need to calculate N. I'll choose experiments where M is constant. Okay, in which experiment is M constant? This one and this one. Okay, now what happened here and what happened here? 0.2 to 0.4, this is times 2. 0.1 to 0.4, this is times 4. So 2 power N is equal to 4. How much is N? Okay, so M is equal to 1, N is equal to 2. This is the correct answer. Okay, this is a similar question. Try to pause the video and do it by yourselves. Okay, N is constant. In which experiment? This is M and this is N. I will choose the same N. So this is experiment 1 and 2. What happened here and what happened here? Here times 2, here times 2. Okay, so I will choose experiment 1 and 2. 2 power m is equal to 2, so m is equal to 1. Okay, now I need to calculate n. I will choose experiments where m is the same or constant. In which experiment is m constant? In experiment 1 and 3. Okay, so I will do experiment 1 and experiment 3, and here what happened, and here what happened. 0.01 to 0.02, this is times 2. 3 to 27, this is times 9. So 2 power n equals, this is times 8. 2 power n equals 8, so n is equal to 3. m is equal to 1 and n is equal to 3. Okay, so the answer is D. Okay, now this question is asking about the unit of k. Unit of k is 1 over s ضرب m order minus 1. Okay, here and a third order. So you put instead of order 3. So it will be 1 over s ضرب m 3 minus 1. 1 over s m square. If we bring these two up, it will be s minus 1 m minus 2. Okay, here minutes is okay. Minutes or second doesn't matter because both of them are units of time. Okay, here first order reaction. So 1 over s ضرب m order minus 1. The order is 1 minus 1. 1 over s m power 0 is 1. So the unit will be s minus 1 or minute minus 1. Okay, now this one is about the last lesson. طبعا if they say for you this is homogeneous or heterogeneous equilibrium, this is homogeneous. Anything should be cancelled. Remember, we said solids and liquids are cancelled, gas and aqueous are counted. So K is equal to P over R. طبعا ولا حدا will be cancelled because all of them are gases. Now the product is HF, and this is square, coefficients become powers, over H2 ضرب F2. انتبهوا هاي ضرب هاي مش plus. Okay, ضرب. So the answer is D. Okay, now this question says which of the following represents a heterogeneous equilibrium? Heterogeneous means you have to see 2 or more states. This is all gas, this is solid and gas, this is all gas, and this is all gas. So this one is heterogeneous equilibrium. Okay, now let's look at this question. طبعا هذا homogeneous equilibrium. Nothing will be cancelled because all of them are gases. So K will be P over R. Products are this one and this one. So remember, I will not write 2SO2 because this 2 will be power times O2 over SO3, and also this 2 will be power. Now he gave you the concentrations. You can calculate K. SO2 is 2 times 10 to the minus 2 square. O2 is 4 times 10 to the minus 2. SO3 is 2 times 10 to the minus 3 square. Okay, and then you find the value of K. Okay, I think this is the same question. Okay, now try to do this one. This one is also homogeneous. The correct chemical equilibrium expression is products over reactants. I think this is the correct answer. It will be HCl square over H2 ضرب Cl2. Okay, now here, which of the following is true about a reaction that has large value of equilibrium constant? Remember, we said K is equal to P over R. If K is more than 1, this means P over R is more than 1. This means P is more than R. This means products are favored. And this means the reaction likes to go forward. Okay? The system consists mainly of products, correct. Reactants are favored, غلط. The position lies to the right, yes, because it likes to go to the right. So the answer is 1 and 3. Okay. Now the last question. Which of the following, you have a reaction mechanism that takes place in 2 steps. What is the intermediate? Remember, in order to get the overall reaction, I put a line and then I add to get the overall. Before we add, we should cancel. Okay, I will cancel HI مع HI. Okay, I will not cancel ICL مع ICL because these two are in the same side, and similarly for HCl. So the overall reaction will be H2 plus 2 ICL. This will give you I2 plus 2 HCl. Okay, so what is the intermediate? The intermediate is HI. Okay, this is the end of last year exam. I hope it was beneficial for you, and I'm sure this will not be enough for you to study from. I hope you can study from your 11 lessons that I already recorded for you in YouTube. Okay, thanks for listening.